So today we're going to be talking about a trade that I think the Golden State Warriors should do. If you're watching this, odds are you aren't subscribed. So please subscribe. Yeah, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. Um, so in my opinion, the Golden State Warriors need to trade for Victor Oladipo of the Houston Rockets. Um, there are tons of reasons I can give for this. We'll just start talking about it. And let me know what you think about this trade in the comments below. Yeah, I like talking to y'all, believe it or not. Um, Victor Oladipo, he had a rough year last year. He was injured. He was not the same player that he used to be. Um, he's having a bit of a resurgence this year. Doing much better in not in Indiana, in Houston. Um, he's still yet to reclaim, the All Star that he was before his injury, but he is getting close to that, level again. So that's good for Victor Oladipo. But what does that have to do with Golden State? Well, Golden State lacks a true shooting guard, in my opinion. Kelly Oubre Jr., eh. Andrew Wiggins, heck no. Klay Thompson is constantly injured, and I personally at least have questions about how good he will be on defense coming back, because that was one of the main aspects of his game. I still think he'll be pretty good on offense. Catching and shooting threes is not an especially, difficult task to do. And, we see that by the amount of, older guys that are just sharpshooting specialists, like JJ Redick, Kyle Korver, Ray Allen played for a while. So I think that part of his game will age well. But that leaves Golden State without a point of attack defender at the guard position. And that's where Victor Oladipo comes in. So right now, the Golden State Warriors have the worst contract in basketball in my man Andrew Wiggins. You know, there are bad contracts and then there are mistakes, and this is just a mistake. Yes. For all the hate Shaq receives, he's not Andrew Wiggins, so that's one thing. Um, Andrew Wiggins' contract is the kind of contract that you need to have if you are a rebuilding team, right? And when I say that, I mean, you know, you take on that contract for a pick, right? Or a younger guy. And the Warriors aren't going to give up Wiseman, or I'm assuming they won't give up Wiseman, because that'd be a huge mistake to give up Wiseman for Victor Oladipo. So we'll just assume that they give up a pick, right? That's a win-win for both teams, in my opinion. You get rid of Andrew Wiggins if you're the Warriors, and you get a pick if you're the Houston Rockets. Now, including in that trade to match salary and to, actually be the incentive to the Warriors is Victor Oladipo. So as I said before, the Warriors need a point of attack defender, in my opinion. Klay Thompson, he might not be the, defender that he once was. Oladipo's pretty good at defense. He's, looking healthy again, which is great for him. Oladipo's pretty good at offense, too, actually. He's not, an amazing three-point shooter. He's not elite at that. He's not really elite at anything on offense, in my opinion. He does everything, pretty well, more or less. So, yeah, that'd be a plus for the Warriors if they're able to get, a guy that can do a little bit of everything. Ideally, I'd like to see him having a Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler impact almost, which might be difficult maybe, but and what I mean by that is a guy that, like let's say you look at Draymond Green's stat sheet. It's not going to look amazing, right? It's never going to look amazing. But if you actually sit down and watch the game, you will see, how much of a difference Draymond Green makes to the team, right? Just in terms of defense, in terms of just, mentality almost. It's like on the court he makes a defense, and then off the court, on the court he makes an impact, and then off the court he makes an impact too, right? And I'd like to see Oladipo slide into that, role on the court at least. He doesn't have to be the leader in the locker room or anything like that. No, he just needs to be, the defender who can score if needed, right? Because you have Steph Curry, one of, if not the best, pure scorers of all time. And you're not going to need to worry about, scoring a ton. And if you do need to, I think Depot could, handle that burden. So in terms of what this potential trade would look like, I've already talked about Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins in a first-round pick. Now, this is where the tricky part gets in. The Warriors have the Minnesota Timberwolves pick this year, I believe. And it's looking That will be a lottery pick for sure at this point. Likely top 5 pick. I'm not entirely sure if it has any protection on it, top 3, top 5 protection. I'm assuming it would not, but yeah. Anyways, so that's too much to give up for Victor Oladipo, in my opinion. That pick and Andrew Wiggins is too much. Because that pick is going to be extremely valuable, right? With whoever the Warriors may want to take. So the pick's going to be, way more valuable than Victor Oladipo would be, if that makes sense. Or a potential of that pick, at least. So it looks something like just, a regular Warriors pick. Like, just Warriors first or a couple of seconds. Something like that for Victor Oladipo. Along with, you giving up Andrew Wiggins. So that's in terms of what I would think the potential trade package, could look like. So there are some issues to this trade. First off, Victor Oladipo does have an injury history. Tore his quad, a season ago, I believe? So that's not exactly a great look for him. The Warriors already have experience with, injured players and Klay Thompson. Draymond Green, it seems like he's injured, all the time to me, quite honestly. They have experience with that, so that might make them a little bit hesitant to, trade for him and or re-sign him this offseason, which is another pretty big issue. Victor Oladipo is a free agent this offseason, so you could potentially just be getting a 1-year rental out of him. Now, Victor Oladipo supposedly, wants to go to Miami, wants to go to all these places. But the issue is, look, okay, so there are 2 deals that you could get with this. You could get a Kawhi Leonard type thing. And when I say that, I mean you get a player that has, huge impact, is worth trading for, but then ends up leaving anyways. Or you could get a Jimmy Butler type guy, which is, a player that does have, a decent sized impact, but you don't do anything, and said player proceeds to leave anyways. Basically what I'm saying is if they trade for him and he leaves and they don't do anything amazing, it's a waste. So I know that the NBA has, some policy of sorts about negotiating contracts with players before they trade for them. The reason I know this is at the trade deadline last year, the Miami Heat traded for Andre Iguodala, and they had a contract extension almost go through. Or no, they did have a contract extension go through. They almost had one with Danilo Gallinari. So I know you are allowed to talk to players ahead of time about their contract situations and if you could extend them. And if the Warriors could extend Oladipo for a year or two, that'd be amazing. And if they can't, then they should, think a lot harder about this trade. So yeah, that's about it. In this trade, the Warriors would get a point of attack defender. The freaking Rockets would get Andrew Wiggins and a pick, which would, have far more value. Look, Rockets fans, if y'all are, first off, if y'all are watching this, thank you. And second off, if y'all are somewhat, apprehensive about this trade, you have to ask yourself, what are the odds Victor Oladipo re-signs this offseason, right? Because I'm assuming they're going to be in single digits, right? You need to try and maximize the value that you can, get for this guy. So, yeah, that's about it. As I said before, 90% of y'all aren't subbed, so, sub. Helps me out. Post daily sports videos. Like the video, too. Forgot to say that. Yeah. Yeah, y'all have an amazing day. I will see y'all around.